Are you ready to learn what red flags keep an eye out for when looking for love?
Then we got you covered. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the podcast where we unpack reality TV and call out the bullshit.
So that you show up confidently while dating and in relationships.
Welcome to
Ditch the Script.
I love it.
Hello!
Hey, Thanksgiving, babe.
Yes! Hey, Thanksgiving week! Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh, it's Thanksgiving Eve.
It's Thanksgiving Eve.
I love the eve of anything.
Me
it's always
too.
the best.
Yeah, I completely agree. The excitement, the anticipation, all of the warm holiday feels.
Yeah,
It's the best.
it feels right.
It
Expectations
does.
get really high and then everything just crumbles afterwards. It's awesome.
So true. Oh, God.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I will
Yeah.
say, business-wise, I'm in the middle of starting a new offer that I've never done before, which I'm super pumped about. And it's an 8-week container. It offers group support and private support, and it's the most cost-effective way to work with me one-on-one. So I'm really stoked to be announcing that. It's a Black Friday deal, too, so, like, get in while the discount's hot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the ideal type of client for a program like this?
Someone who's ready to get out of their comfort zone. Like, honestly, yeah. Because there's a lot of like sciencey, fun, healing type self-love stuff that is included, of course. But as far as going out on dates, meeting new people in different ways and having conversations that you probably haven't had in the past, or at least looked at dating with this type of lens, it's going to be weird at first, right? And so I'm really looking for a group of gals to enroll in this program who are ready to get out of their comfort zone, try something new, and really do the damn thing, you know? So if you've been dating and you're kind of exhausted and are tired of the games and you actually want to like date like a badass babe, which you already are, but you really want to channel her and bring her to the table, this program's for you.
So your client would have to be ready to do the work, essentially, like ready to take some cues and do something maybe a little scary.
Yeah, but I'm here to hold you by the hand. And like I said, you get a private chat with me, like, so we can literally text and send voice notes, and you can send me screenshots of stuff that you're dealing with or like seeing on your end, and I can help you analyze it and respond and find your words and all of that.
Professional bestie.
It's on the job dating training. Yeah, professional bestie. And so I'm
love
really,
that.
really stoked. And for my private clients, because I do this with private clients as well, usually towards the end. The private client dynamic is a little bit more focused on healing and like, you know, because that's not one size fits all. So it's very much customized for whoever is in front of me. But when they get to the point to where they're doing this, it's very valuable for them. And I've always gotten really good feedback about like, it just makes it so much more clear. And I think that is something everyone in the dating world craves, is clarity on like, what is okay, what isn't okay? Am I wasting my time, or is this something I should really continue to explore? And I think having someone who knows what to look for and has a little bit more, not saying that I'm amazing, but has a little bit more practice spotting
I'll say it.
No, thanks, girl. But just has, you know, like someone who has an eye for being able to figure that out with you is so empowering, and also just allows you to freaking relax and enjoy it a little bit more. Dating should be fun.
Dating should be fun. I was just going to say that, like, if we're going to actually get the most out of these experiences and not feel like we're just wasting our time when we're trying to find the partner that we're looking for, we have to have fun. That's a big struggle for me, is like feeling a little hung up on the monotony that can be dating.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I have gotten feedback from a lot of different places that's like, if it feels like you hate dating, that's going to come through in the places that you try to date. So check your attitude.
Yeah, they're right. So, yeah, I'm really, really stoked. And if anyone's listening to this is interested in learning more, you can find me on the gram and we can have a little chitty chat.
The Alex Scott. When should people sign up by?
Well, if you want the deal, if you want the discount before midnight Pacific time Friday, it's $500 off, and that's also a discounted payment plan too. So if you want the discount, who doesn't like a discount, by Friday, but otherwise the price goes up Saturday, and we don't start till the first week of December. So there's some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Totally. So I want to hear about you and your life. Like, speaking of dating and dating apps, like,
And speaking of doing the work, I feel like I am putting in the work. Like, I really feel like this is a full-time fucking job.
yeah,
It's
it is.
intense. I'm really trying to like hit the ground running because, so I've been in Florida for a couple months. I moved, I had my birthday. Like, I did all of the things that were sort of like always on the horizon of like where my attention needed to be next. And now I'm in this place alone, which I love, but I don't really have any friends here outside of my family, whom I also love. But I need some socialization. I'm a social person. I really like going out in moderation. And so like, I really am trying to date. And a good friend of mine sort of shared some insight with me, which was like, listen, if you go on these dates and you just meet someone at least just like nice and interesting, and you think that they're cool and maybe they're already embedded in like the social spaces out here in this area, then you can make a friend. It's okay. You don't have to like cut them out. And that felt like that was sort of like an aha moment. It sounds silly, but I used to date this is still pretty intentional because I am looking for a relationship, but I used to date in a way where it was like, if this doesn't feel like a romantic connection, then I don't really want to continue to build on a relationship or build on a friendship because I have enough friends. I'm busy as it is, but now I need friends. I need friends. So I'm in Jupiter, Florida. So hit me up because I need friends. Yeah, but it's been interesting. There was this.
Sorry.
That's okay. What?
I just was gonna say, have you tried Bumble BFF?
Yeah, no, I'm on it, but I don't swipe on it regularly. But I should. Why? Why are you laughing?
I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated by it. So I haven't ever used that side of the app. So I'm curious to know what it's like. Like, judging, you can be my friend because you're cute and I like that outfit, or not. You know, like, is it as surfacey?
I can't say that like aesthetics aren't part of the equation, because like everything is when it's an app based on like your photos and like a couple blurbs. But I've only used it a little bit and not enough to actually like spark any conversation. I haven't even had a conversation with anyone on Bumble BFF, but I do think that it's a really good idea. But I'm finding that like, yes, there are blurbs, but it feels like a much more relaxed space than the dating side of Bumble. That's how I feel. Like, cause I felt, this is interesting. I felt far more comfortable being really honest and more like myself in the info bios on Bumble BFF, because I was just like, I just moved here. I love drinking wine and hanging out inside and chilling and getting a beer, but also like getting on the water. Like, that felt far more comfortable to me to do that there than to get on the Bumble dating side, where I feel this pressure to be like a little interesting and I don't even really know what that means. So it's just a challenge.
Oh, you are though. Gosh, if I was a guy in Jupiter, Florida, oh my God.
I know, you'd be like calling me up every day. But the thing is like that may be true. And I think that that's true for a lot of people that are using online dating resources, but it's hard to translate that.
Oh,
virtually.
totally. Yeah.
So I think that a lot of us actually find a lot of misconnections in a place where we're supposed to have more opportunities to connect, because it can be hard if I see dudes that clearly haven't had a more recent picture than 10 years ago. And I know that it's not that they're just like, Yeah. I know that it's not that they're just like this weirdo holed up in their basement for the last 10 years of their life. It's because they're like not good at social media. So they don't have the photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. That's Jordan. Jordan was like that when he was on the apps. It was like photos from years ago. Jenga was a baby little pup at the time, you know? Jenga. Anyway, yeah, I can totally get where you're coming from saying that. I think a lot of us start to choke or second guess ourselves and our authenticity when we show up on profiles because of the expectation of developing romantic connections. And it's something that for me personally, and I know you know this, but like, fuck it and be you. Like, I don't
totally.
Yeah. Try and ignore that resistance or that gut punch that you feel. And it's like, put the weird, quirky thing that's about you in your profile, because the one person who also shares that weird, quirky thing is going to swipe right. And that's what you want.
Let it be known.
Let
Absolutely.
it be freaking known.
I wanted to tell you though, that there was this one guy that, this was on Hinge. And so he, you know, on Hinge, you like start a conversation by like liking a photo or commenting on a response or something like that. It's more direct.
Right.
In that way. And this guy commented on a photo of me and a friend of mine from this summer. And he was like, "You're really beautiful, but your friend is my type too."
Yeah. What is that? What?
And I matched with him because I wanted to discuss what the fuck that was.
What did you say? How I don't understand. Okay, I'm fascinated though. So where did this conversation go?
Not very far, but I did tell him, I said, this line does not hit the way that you think that it does.
Yes.
Because if you're trying to connect with me, it's sure as shit not going to happen right off the bat by also making a pass at my friend who's not in the room. She's not here.
Not on the app. Yeah.
She's not on the app. Nothing could make me feel less special. And like, no shade to my friend. She's a cutie patootie. I feel you, but keep that to yourself.
Yeah. It's so weird. I don't understand what people think sometimes, like when they are sending these messages. It's ridiculous. I don't get it.
Hey. Yeah. So I was like, I don't love this.
You're like, I'm going to take this opportunity to educate you, and then I'm going to unmatch real quick.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he'd said something back where he was just like, I don't even fucking know. He said something stupid. Like he was trying to like make it sound better than it was. And I was like, nah, listen, this is the other thing about dating online, especially like there are so many reasons to be able to just not answer someone or like unmatch with them, never speak to them again. So you be yourself, but you also sort of got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be trying.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing, and this is my qualm with dating apps, is it's a blessing and a curse. One, on the one hand, lots of opportunity to meet a bunch of people you probably wouldn't have met otherwise, right? Amazing.
Yes, totally.
And at the same time has enabled so many poor behaviors because it's easy to hide behind a screen and say things that are inappropriate or condescending or misleading or mean and like, or just weird. Just weird. Why you gotta be weird? Just be normal.
Why you gotta be weird?
Just be normal. We're people, you know? So let's talk about something more fun, like turkey and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Okay, so I wanted to just check in with you. Do you have any like good Thanksgiving memes or anecdotes? Stuff that this holiday makes you feel?
Yeah, obviously super grateful. This Thanksgiving, as it's been coming up, I've been kind of on cloud nine because I'm at an amazing place with my business and in my relationship, and just like, obviously we all have things in our life like we'd want to improve. For example, me can't wait to move back to Orange County. And at the same time, I am feeling so thankful for just where I am and the people in my life and like the people I've had the opportunity to support. And so this Thanksgiving has been, I mean, it's not even technically here yet, but putting things into perspective around where I was a year ago, 2 years ago, and where I am now, it's like, I just have all the gratitude vibes. So yeah,
I love that.
And as far as your question around traditions, I do. I have 2 holiday traditions. One is, of course, I got to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I got to see my Rockettes, got to see my girls. And then also
Give it up for the girls.
Give it up for them. Give it up for them high kicking ladies. I don't know if you know, but I did do a summer intensive with them for a week, and it was really...
Yeah, I did know that.
It was so cool. And so I have so much appreciation for what they do to their bodies, because it demands a lot.
It's really hardcore training.
Yeah.
And it's year round. People think that it's like seasonal, but it's year round.
No.
I have a good friend of mine that I grew up with.
Caitlin
Gaffney. Yeah.
Yep.
And she's been a Rockette for almost 10 years.
Get it, girl.
Crazy.
It's
oh my gosh.
It's an awesome gig if you book it for show. And I just love it. I was watching their tech rehearsal on Facebook earlier today. Because they do tech in the middle of the night. So I'm like over there totally geeking out. Dancer self is like tripping. And then the other tradition I have is I have to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve Martin, John Candy. It's the best Thanksgiving movie out there. And like, I have such a soft spot for Steve Martin in particular. I saw him live once and I literally cried when he walked on stage. I don't know what it is about that man.
Because he's sweet and wholesome and hysterical, and he's like...
And he plays the banjo.
Yeah, he's adorable. Thank you so much for that throwback. You showed me that movie. I didn't know that movie existed until we watched it.
Oh, shut up. Really?
In your house. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that this is probably less significant for you because you've obviously seen this movie 1 trillion times. I had never seen it. I actually don't think that I've seen it since I watched it with you. But like per tradition, we're like sitting on your carpet, like legs up.
Yep.
Like laying down, watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It was a hilarious movie.
It is. It's a really funny movie and great holiday vibes. And yep. So that's what we're going to be doing. Watching movies, probably some Harry Potter up in there too, because it gives you all the fall vibes. And eating. Oh yeah. Other side note, Jordan is starting to reintroduce foods. So he's
just in time.
He's had dairy and garlic so far, and he's good with those. So today we're going to try onion, which means I'll probably be grocery shopping tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day, figuring out what I'm going to cook.
So that like things that you know that he can eat?
Yeah, because we don't know the gamut yet. Like we don't know like what's off limits. Hopefully nothing will be, but we got to do it right. So, onions today. He's going to try onion later, and we'll see what happens.
Is he just going to like raw dog the onion?
No.
Are you going to cook it?
Yeah, we'll cook it. We'll like saute it with something. I should do that. I should just give him an onion and be like, bite it.
Bite in. Like the Russians.
Like the Grinch. Yeah, like the Russians. What about you? Do you have any holiday memes or stories that are fun?
Yeah, I have a couple. I'm glad that you brought up the Macy's Day Parade. We used to watch that every day.
Every day of the year.
We record it and I press play every morning.
In my jams.
In my jams. So we watch it every year. We like fell off in the later years, but a number of years ago, this is probably 2012, Jamie's my brother. Jamie used to work for Macy's in New York City. And so if you are a Macy's employee, you have the opportunity to be in the Macy's Day Parade as like a clown or some other entertainer. So Jamie and myself and our good friend Matt Zabita, who you know, were in the Macy's Day Parade, Thanksgiving 2012. And it was like the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life to this day.
Yes. Oh my God.
And other than that, Thanksgiving used to take place in New Jersey every year. My dad's family, which is really big, and based out of New Jersey, we would spend time with them. And it's pretty much the only time of the year that I get to see like that side of my family. Right. Which has always been really great for me. And I miss doing that a lot. Being in Florida and traveling, and the pandemic has like just made holidays much smaller. But I found out this year that one of my uncles, so my dad's oldest brother, who just turned 80 years old, I guess he was asking my cousin, his son, and he was like, this was this year, like a couple weeks ago. He was like, he heard about the podcast and he was like,
oh no.
Yeah. He goes, has Brianna even dated anyone? Has she dated anyone? And so I get a text from my cousin who's like, my dad wants to know if you've ever had a boyfriend. And I was like, what? I couldn't, I didn't understand what was happening. He was like, yeah, he wants to know if you've ever had a boyfriend. I was like, yeah, a few. I've had a few. And so then cut to a couple weeks later, my dad's in town for his brother's 80th birthday. They pass around the phone. I'm on FaceTime. Everyone's like, hey, how are you? Love the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then I get to my uncle and the birthday boy, and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You've you have dated someone? And I was like, Uncle Peter, what? So this is my Uncle Harry. What is the issue? What's the issue here? And he's like, you just never brought anyone to Thanksgiving. And I was like, well, no one's really ever made it that far. Or it was like early.
Yeah.
Or
I just don't want to bring them.
Yeah, let me live. It's a tight party. Y'all, we are like 40 people deep here.
Yeah.
I don't really have room for another body.
Yeah. And it can be overwhelming for a new partner to be surrounded by that many people who know you like that and like are cracking jokes that they don't get and like they don't know the dynamic yet. That can be really overwhelming for a new partner.
It's a big ask. And I know that people are, routine goers of their partner's Thanksgiving meals. Mm-hmm. It totally depends on like your relationship or location to your own family.
Yeah.
And I get that. It's such a big deal with my family that it would have been a very big ask to bring someone there. And so anyway, my Thanksgiving tradition is pretending that I have never dated anyone ever in my entire life. And apparently it's my tradition to just talk about other things because you know what? Other things are important too.
Yeah. I think that's actually kind of a really cool testament to who you are as a person and like the amount of respect for your own privacy that you have. Because sometimes, look, we love our family, but sometimes, when they ask these questions that like might sting a little deep down because it's not like you're not trying to find the right person. But let me just literally. Let me do my own thing. Like, let me date on my own terms. You know what I mean? And like, if I want you to hear about it, you will hear about it. And trust me, I will let you know when I find someone who's worthy of meeting Uncle Harry.
Exactly. Let me come to Thanksgiving and just eat in peace and talk about
be
my
merry.
Job.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's hilarious. Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up, though.
About it. Yeah. I'm glad too.
Okay, let's do a fun...
I'm happy for us.
Go ahead.
I was going to add, this doesn't need to be here. I'm excited for us because I know that both of us are about to have like nice, chill Thanksgivings and
oh my gosh,
an actual break for both of us, which will be nice.
I'm so excited. It's going to be great. Okay, let's play a fun, quick little holiday Would You Rather.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you?
No.
First one.
Yeah.
Bring a new date, someone you've been dating for 2 months or less, to Thanksgiving, or go it alone?
Yeah, you already know my answer. I'm alone.
Go it
baby.
alone.
I love rolling solo dolo. I love it. Even if someone else's Thanksgiving, I love rolling up alone. What about you?
Mm-hmm. I would go it alone. I mean, if I was still, I don't talk to anyone in my family. So sad. And I know, guys.
How about you come to mine? Would you come to mine and bring a new date?
If I would. I actually would. I would do that. If it was like 2 months, I would feel comfortable doing that only because I, at that point, would be like, Bri, I need your opinion on this person. Like 2 months. Like I need.
Ooh, good idea.
So I would use, like, if it was your fam, I would use it as a way to do that. And your fam's super chill. With my family, I would always vote go it alone just because of the crazy. And it's self-preservation at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If these are our choices, we stand by them.
We stand by them. Yeah. You know, and that's not new news. I've always gone alone. I've always gone alone.
As we should.
As we should. All right. Homemade cranberry sauce or canned?
I'm canned.
Yeah. I'm homemade. I love my recipe. I mean, it's Alton Brown's recipe, but it's freaking dope.
Okay, you make it.
Canned is so
Very
good
cool.
though. I'm not gonna knock canned. I just have an obsession with the recipe that Alton Brown has.
That's so good. Listen, good homemade cranberry sauce is to be respected. But there is something addictive in the canned cranberry sauce that we
Probably
have to
preservatives.
acknowledge. Yeah. And sugar.
No, but it's so good though. I mean, I don't knock it. Like I said, that is a canned item that I will grab, right?
Absolutely. Okay.
All right. Do you want to do this next one or you want me to do it?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Would you rather be tasked with eating all of the food, all of the Thanksgiving food to offer, or have to clean up all of the dishes?
Eat all the Thanksgiving food or clean the dishes. I'll eat it all.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a heavy task, but I think you're up for it.
Oh, I can eat.
You can eat. I would honestly clean the dishes. I think I'd clean the dishes.
Really?
I know that sounds so
cool.
boring.
No.
Well, we're a perfect match. So
I think we are. I think it's a superpower. I really do.
I don't mind cleaning dishes as long as it's appreciated.
I'm weird. I will clean a toilet over the dishes.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
That is
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know what it is about me. I know it's weird. I would rather clean a toilet than do the dishes.
You know, we'll unpack this offline because I have to know a lot more about that.
Okay, cool. White meat or dark meat?
Dark.
Okay,
Easy.
cool. I can
What
go
about you?
either way. I can go either way.
Whoa. Your verse?
Yeah. I will take light or dark meat. I usually do have a combo of both on my plate. So this one's hard for me to reach for one or the other. Kind of defeats the purpose of would you rather. Would you rather? I'll go dark meat. I'll go with you on dark meat.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you
Thank you.
on the dark side.
On the dark side. Sweet potatoes or mashed potatoes?
Sweet potatoes.
I'm a mash girl. I like regular. I do like sweet though too. I just want both. I want everything.
I know. Hence why you'll eat all of the food. Yeah,
I know.
It's honestly, it feels unfair to put sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes in the same category because it's just like they're almost like not the same thing at all.
Especially if you add that marshmallow to the top of those yams or whatever.
Well, then it's a dessert. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm actually editing this question.
Okay, cool.
Mashed potatoes or roasted potatoes?
Mashed. I love potatoes.
I've literally
love
never
them.
heard you take a more serious and intentional pause on anything ever. Ever. I feel like I just asked you to pick a favorite kid.
Yeah, you basically did. I love potatoes, guys, in all of its forms. I really do. And so I'm going to have to go mashed. I am. But I love a good roasted potato. Oh, man.
Listen, the crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside.
Buttery. Yeah.
You can't fucking beat that. I'm not a mashed potato girl, and I know that may make me lose some points in some people's eyes. Oh,
Not at all.
thank you.
Not even in the slightest.
Thank you. Oh, I've been judged for it, even by
That's
my
crazy.
own family.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh.
sort of like a Dachshund sin to not love mashed potatoes. But there's a very small secret core of us that secretly are like down with the taters.
Who is that? You and Jamie?
No, Jamie loves mashed potatoes. It's me and my Uncle Peter, someone else. But you know what? There's so fucking many of them. Can't remember.
That's hilarious. So you guys are rebelling. You're like,
Yeah. We'll just like secretly not put any on our plate. Or I'll put,
boycott
like,
them.
My dad usually makes them and he's very proud of them. So I put like a little dab just
There
to be
you
like,
go.
look, Dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's love. That's love.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to make sure he feels seen.
Listen, you want to, it's important to make sacrifices for the people who are good to you.
Yeah. So to choke down a couple bites of potatoes, you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
You'll eat fermented fish, but not mashed potato.
Yo, literally. Because I know what's on the other side of mashed potatoes. It's
Vomit?
sort of it's sort of like a soupy texture.
Starch. It's a
Yeah.
soupy starch.
It's a soupy
All right.
starch and fermented fish I've never had before, so I gotta know.
All right.
Apple pie or pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin out of those two, I guess. I'm
I
not.
would also go pumpkin.
Yeah. Pecan's my favorite. What's your favorite?
Oh. My favorite is my mom's cheesecake. She makes like slamming cheesecake.
Oh my God. I believe that. I want some of that. Ooh, a
Very
good
good.
cheesecake. I
Very
made my
good.
first cheesecake last year for Jordan's birthday. It was chocolate peanut butter.
Wow, you went big.
I did, and it was all right. It was good, but it wasn't mind blowing. And so, yeah, the end of
You
that
get-
story.
You'll get it next time, though. You will.
I mean, it
know
tasted fine. Like, we lived off of it forever, but like, it's got to be the right cheesecake. And some people have their special wizardry, fluffy cheesecake abilities, and I just don't. And I'm okay with that. I am a cooker over a baker, 100%.
Listen, I hear you. If you're interested, I know that my mom has this recipe like scrawled down on 50-year-old notepad.
Yes, those are the best.
Yeah, I'll have her transcribe it and send it to you sometime. See if you can
Oh my God.
try your hand at it.
Yeah,
That'd
I would be
cute, wouldn't
down.
it be?
Yeah.
Okay,
it
I
would.
have. This is not a would you rather, but to end this little Thanksgiving themed game, fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce.
I would marry cranberry. I would fuck
marry
mashed
cranberry.
potatoes, and I would kill stuffing.
Wow.
See, I'm
I'll
judged
be
a
honest-
lot for my indifference towards stuffing.
I am surprised about that, not about the stuffing, because it's not for everyone. Also,
Yeah.
not many people love to eat the thing that was like stuffed inside the turkey carcass. I
It's
do.
not even that. It's a texture thing. Like, if it's good stuffing, great. But sometimes it's just so mushy that it's like, what is this, like, step
Sludge.
up above baby food sludge? Yeah, like, nah. But I like good
Yeah,
stuffing.
you've been eating weird stuffing.
Yeah, I have. Maybe that's it. I just haven't had a great stuffing experience. But what about you? Fuck, marry, kill. Okay, stuffing, taters, and cran sauce.
And if it's specifically mashed potatoes, I would fuck cranberry sauce. I would kill mashed potatoes, and I would marry stuffing.
Cool. And I
Stuffing's one of my
respect that.
favorite sides. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Look at us, two people acknowledging and respecting each other's differences.
Absolutely. And look at us, we can still be friends.
I love you. You're my favorite. You're the best.
I love you too.
You're my favorite person on the planet.
I love you so much. And look, we don't have to agree on everything,
No.
just on the fact that mashed potatoes are subpar to other kind of potatoes.
Yep, that's right.
Is that true? Do you actually feel that way? Do you feel that way?
Mashed potatoes are subpar against other potatoes. I feel like they can be. I mean, look, even within mashed potatoes, you have chunky mashed potatoes, skin on, skin off, whipped mashed potatoes. You have with fixins like garlic and parm. You have plain with cream and butter. Like, there's so many. So is it a possibility that there are types of mashed potatoes that are subpar to roasted or smashed potatoes? Yeah, freaking totally. But for me and the potatoes, again, I like my potatoes and I like my cranberry sauce. And so Alex likes to cook and she'll eat what she cooks.
That's right.
I'm sure it's going to be tasting good while it goes down.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of going down, this Bachelorette episode.
Yes. Let's get into the Bach Breakdown.
Let's talk about what the fuck went down here.
A lot.
Yeah, we have a lot happened.
Let me scroll back to the top of my notes.
This episode was a little bit different. So we're still set in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But these dates had a large student body influence. These young kids.
Yes. And I was here for it. I thought it was adorable. Stoked. Yeah, I was stoked. She said a couple things like a child's opinion could be very important. I agree. And she said the same thing about animals later on, which we'll kind of unpack, I'm sure. But let me tell you, I agree with both the statements Michelle said. I think a kid's intuition is very powerful, and I think animals' intuition is also very powerful. And I think a lot can be said of how a person treats a child and an animal. So
absolutely,
I was stoked to see how this all unfolded.
Yeah, I thought I loved seeing the kids.
Me too.
Kids were so funny. The kids were so funny. I love that they got this like little bit of downtime with the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, obviously there was a lot taped that we didn't get to see, and I wish that we could have seen absolutely everything, because I think that having an opportunity to see how people interact with kids is
insane.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it sheds a lot of light on so many things. And, yeah, I thought I have some quotes from them. So Kelsey, I felt like she was our little ditch the script spy, because her words were, we're trying to find out who the good guys are and the bad guys are. And I was like, you go, girl. You do it for us. Yeah, you are in there.
Let's get her on the show.
Yeah. And then little Luke was adorable. Be kind to your wife and be patient.
He said Clayton has good muscles and looks like he'd be good at carrying groceries.
Yeah, he did. I have that one down too. It was adorable. And then they described Olu. This was so charming. They described Olu as hot chocolate and a chocolate chip cookie, which to me just goes to show the energy Olu carries with him is like very comforting and calm.
Warmth.
Yeah, warmth. It was adorable. And I loved that they got that so quickly with him. I think Olu is a hidden gem.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree.
Yeah.
So the people that I noticed that were really good with the kids, Olu was great. Clayton was really good, but we also got to see a lot of that because of the events that took place next and some outside of this season Bachelor news. and Rodney was also really good with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
He made a little secret handshake with one of the boys.
I know. That was so cute. Sweet. And then when Kelsey talked to Martin, did you see her face? I was dying laughing.
Yeah, it was hysterical. Well, she felt the same way that we have been feeling for weeks, where she was just like, what'd she say? She was just like, I don't like him.
I got it.
About him.
I have the quote. You do? I wrote it down.
Ooh,
yep.
Let's go.
Oh, yep. Here it is. She said, well, first of all, I just want to point out that if you haven't watched this episode yet, watch her face within the first 30 seconds of interacting with Martin, because it's the same face Michelle made when Martin offended her. So the point of bringing that up is the signs of someone being uncomfortable, pretty standard across the board. Because she just checked out. Yeah, she just checked out. She was looking down at the table, you know, and Martin, again, not even observing, like he is not present. He's not watching her react to what he's saying. So Kelsey in her little confessional, this adorable little girl was just like, I don't really like Martin. I don't know, like, I just don't know how to explain it. He's trying to show up. I don't know if he's the right one for Michelle. And he wears too much cologne. I'm sorry. This was a typo. He's trying to show off is what that should have said. And he wears too much cologne. I thought that was a great observation.
Yeah, that had me and my dad laughing pretty hard because, and also that's also how we were feeling about him these last couple of weeks. Not that we knew that he wore too much cologne and can't smell him through the TV.
No, can't smell it, sadly.
But he was trying to present himself as a version of himself that he wanted to be accepted instead of just like being who he was. Something that was clear about Martin in this episode, in the way that he was talking to this like young girl, was that he's talking to her like adults who like are trying to talk to kids in this, like they're kids, when really, if you really want to connect with kids, like talk to them like they're people. Yes. And you'll meet them where they're at.
I completely agree with that. In fact, this is something, so the day after Jordan and I had our first date, we were working at a fair. We went to the date at the fair. The next day, my 4-year-old niece, I think she was 3 at the time, came to the fair and met Jordan, literally. And they had the cutest little interaction, which would gain Jordan brownie points. But something he said to me afterwards was exactly that. Like, I love that you talk to your niece like she is just a human being instead of this like, well, you know, Sterling, this is how this da-da-da-da. And it just comes like, and kids can tell when you're being condescending, when you're trying to talk to them like they don't understand. And kids understand a lot more than we give them credit for. So much. Yeah. So obviously use vocabulary they understand. They're not going to know what, you know, facetious means at the age of 5 or 6 or 8, but using vocabulary they understand and still just treating them like a person is going to be so solidifying for that dynamic and that relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
We have the difference between Martin, who's talking to this like 7-year-old girl about this intimate connection that he has with Michelle.
Yeah.
And then you have Clayton, who's a massive human being, gets down on the ground with them, builds a fort
on
with
their
them,
level.
gets down on the ground, meets them where they are, and like talks to them about, I mean, they're asking him questions, but he just like levels with them.
Yeah.
And they loved it, and it clearly paid off.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like Martin didn't care to hear Kelsey's opinion. Like, what if he was like, well, what do you think would be important for Michelle to have in a partner, you know? And kids appreciate that when you take the time. Again, every human, no matter the age, they want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to feel seen. And so do children, right?
Yeah.
And taking the time to, like you said, get on their level, right? Literally get on their same eye level and be like, what does your unique little kid mind think about this situation, right? I want to understand you. And he missed that boat. And it's clear why, because as we will continue to unpack this episode, a lot happens with Martin.
Yeah. He gets what's coming to him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So the kids pick Clayton for the one-on-one. They get to choose, and they get to choose where they go, which was so cute because they had them go to a museum that Michelle's taken them on, like school field trips, which is like the cutest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, how do you feel about museum dates? Because I love them. Like I was jumping out of my chair. Yeah.
I like anything that's more interactive than sitting across from each other, like asking interview questions. Like,
oh my gosh,
I would
completely
much
agree.
rather go do something, and then we can have something to talk about. It helps like facilitate a bond.
Yeah, I
easily.
completely agree. And I also think it takes the pressure off because when you're sitting there doing that interview dynamic, there's so much expectation. There's so much like, what if there's an awkward pause? Oh my gosh. Like if you go somewhere and you're just quiet in the museum observing a
okay.
dinosaur or a piece of art, it's okay. And then you have options to start conversations. Look at this. What do you think? I like the colors. I don't. Like whatever it is. But it allows for the ease of normal conversation flow to happen instead of sitting there trying to mind your table manners, eat without having stuff falling out of your mouth and all of the things. It's like, oh God.
Totally agree. I totally agree. So they have a really lovely date. Things go pretty well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Michelle takes this opportunity to like really consider, while she's had a really good time, is this someone that I want to, you know, progress and meet his family next week? Because next week is hometowns. And so I had a question for you. I have two questions for you from this one-on-one, but the first is, what do you think would have come out of Michelle and Clayton connecting and courting each other outside of the pressure and timeline of this show?
It's funny you say that because I literally have, this is where the pressure of the timeline of this show can really get in the way.
It does.
Yeah. And so here's the deal. I feel like if Clayton and Michelle met in real life, they may have dated longer. I do feel that at some point they probably would have parted ways, just because I can tell when I look at them that on paper they're a great match for each other, but that connection is lacking, right? Like when we look at Joe and her, right? Like there is that clear like chemistry, right? That sizzle. Whereas Clayton and her, and Clayton said, I actually took the time to write down some of the things Clayton said because it really shows how he perceives this process. You know, the more I get to know Michelle, the more I have feelings for her. I'm lucky if I'm lucky enough to get that rose, he said. I feel safe with Michelle. Like he was saying all of these really self-aware and humble and intelligent, you know, emotionally intelligent things. And I knew the second he got the one-on-one, he was going home. Jordan was like, you called it. I literally wrote a note. I have a feeling he's not going to stay. I just knew because of that missing X factor, whatever you want to call it.
And to be fair, they haven't had a one-on-one opportunity before this stage of the show.
Yeah, and I think for Michelle, or maybe not Michelle, but the issue with the show is this is a show that very much feeds off of our initial spark and chemistry with whoever's in front of us, which, as you and I know, isn't always the best sign or feeling to progress things off of, right? And so sadly for Clayton, it took him this long to even have this. And I think if he had had an earlier one-on-one, he would have made it longer. I still don't necessarily think Clayton is the one for Michelle out of this group, regardless. But I do feel that in another setting, they could have had a longer term relationship, you know? So I'm not too upset about it. I just the reality of the way that this show is set up and structured, it forces the men in this scenario, whoever the contestants are, to try and capitalize on as many small moments as they can, which for the bachelor or bachelorette can be really overwhelming. And you have a sea of 30 people coming at you, and you're paying attention to who am I drawn to? Who did I actually have a good conversation with? And I can only imagine how confusing that is with this rapid timeline for her.
Right. Absolutely.
What about you?
I think I honestly feel the same way. Like, I think that if they were in a different place, if they didn't have the pressure of having to progress things a lot quicker, they probably would have spent a lot more time together. But ultimately, I mean, it would have been interesting to see how they would have connected if she didn't have all of these other connections present.
True. Yeah, true.
Because
very, very true.
I like what you mentioned about the fact that like when you are building a relationship off of like hot and heavy feelings, initial sparks, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a reliable long-term partnership.
Correct.
So we really don't know the outcome of any of those.
Nope.
until we get a little bit further away from the show. Yeah. So Michelle in the moment she does the respectable thing, which she has like an honest conversation with him about not choosing to have him move forward. And she says why. And I thought that she handled that pretty well. What did you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the way that Clayton received it was great too. I have a note in here that he handled it really well. He took it in stride. And I know he goes on to talk about this feeling of like, every time I put myself out there, it comes back to bite me in the ass, which I think a lot of people can relate to. I will say that I love that he was a grown-ass man, and while he was crying, he says on national television, it felt good to let some of that go. I thought that was like green flag for Clayton. And I also feel, because then at one point he got a little awkward in front of the camera while crying, and I can only imagine how annoying that is for him. People in that, like, I just got dumped, I'm freaking crying, and you have a camera in my face and you want me to answer questions and talk. It's like, it's a little overwhelming. So I feel like you could kind of tell that Clayton was like ready to be done at that point. But I feel like they both handled it really well as they could have for the situation that they were in.
Yeah, I agree. I did want to ask you what you felt or what you make of someone who says, every time I open up, I get rejected, or I have a new reason to close myself off. And this is why I don't get vulnerable. And this is why I don't want to open up. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like this is where a good and statement needs to be emphasized here.
What would that sound like?
Because I think it's genuine and it's acceptable to feel that way. You know, like, it can be exhausting. Dating does require, and it's like you said, it's the same conversation typically over and over again with a different person across from you. You know, what do you do? Like, all the things. What are your favorite foods? What are your favorite this? Da, da, da. And it's just like, when you do get to that level where you are opening up about your past and some deeper wounds that you've been through and where you are as a person, like, yeah, it hurts. It hurts. And if you want a healthy long-term love, you need to understand that that's what it takes to find it. So I think people who use that as an excuse to stop putting themselves out there, you know, you need to know that you are choosing to shoot yourself in the foot, essentially.
Right.
Because you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Yeah.
But people who take the time to feel that and be okay feeling vulnerable and be okay, like, processing the, like, ooh, that stung, that rejection, you know, and like, know that that's okay. That person just wasn't meant for me. So when I'm ready, I'm going to get back out there again. It's like riding a bike. You don't fall over and stop and hope that someday you'll ride a bike. You get back on and you keep practicing. So same concept with dating and trying to find love. Yes, it hurts. Take the time you need to repair and get motivated and get back out there again.
Absolutely. When you getting vulnerable with the risk of getting hurt is part of the process. If you never get vulnerable, you will make connections that maybe won't serve you if you make any connections at all. So you have to take in the consequence of getting hurt so that you can experience it and see what's on the other side of it. Maybe meet someone that you feel really strongly about. Maybe it doesn't work out very well. You dust yourself off. You pick out what you can learn from it. You keep your heart open after you've taken care of yourself.
Yeah.
And you get back on the horse.
Get back up there. Get back up there. Because someone, and I think this is a really healthy mindset and a motivating mindset to embrace, the person that's out there who's looking for their partner, who is you, isn't giving up either, right? And so I think, like, reminding yourself that there is someone out there that you will meet, that you will connect with, that will be a good match for you. They're out there. They're looking for you too. And so don't give up. And I think that's something that we need to remember.
Amen.
Yep. Amen. Group date. Oh, God. This freaking farm date. I can't. Rodney had me rolling on the floor.
It was really cute. It was
He
really,
was
really
tripping out.
It was so funny. So they're on this farm, and the few of them are challenged to milk cows, and there's like a milking contest, and
Rick is a natural. Salad guy.
I hate that. Yeah, honestly, I've like a few notes on this whole group date experience outside of Martin just obviously not being. He got
cow
kicked.
almost
He also
kicked
just
him.
he just like wasn't really down to like get his hands dirty, and I get that this is like not everyone's thing. I feel like in the show a lot they tend to pick some sort of rural group date opportunity, and it becomes very clear like who's willing to like get elbow deep in some cow udders and who is not. And Martin really was the only one who was not.
Yeah.
And anyway, then they have the
moving on.
the party. Honestly, this whole experience it did like nothing for me. I was like,
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, exactly. Like Rodney had me cracking up because he was like motivationally speaking to the cow. He was milking the whole time. He's like, eye contact, we got this. And he's like, and I think that was his way of trying to self-soothe. That honestly, I think the reason I resonated with Rodney so much is that would have been me, because I would have been so awkward about like, how do I do this, that I cope with humor. So I probably would have been trying to have a conversation with my cow, like, we got this, cow, like, we got, let's go, I'm with you
and me, we're good.
Yeah. And so he was like calling his cow Bessie and like asking, are you okay? And like, and then Martin almost got kicked. That cow picked up its back leg and like put it down, and I was waiting for him to get decked in the face. It would have been hilarious.
Listen, kids, cows, us, we all feel the same about Martin.
Yeah. And so Michelle this is when she made her comment about like, I love it when a guy can be nurturing, and I really believe that animals can sense your energy. And so she looks over and sees Joe there, like having a cute little moment with a calf, and just like, well, I thought it was hilarious. But later when she talks to him, she's like, so I didn't know you were so great with cows. And he's like, well, I had family that had a dairy farm.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, so it was like his second home for him, and he felt really comfortable. But I agree with that statement. I think if a person has good, calm, yet confident energy and they're good people, animals gravitate to them. And so it was really fun to see that side of him. Yeah, but I agree with you. Like, nothing much came out of this. Nate hurt his back. Rodney came in and kind of swooped up Michelle, who was starting to give Nate some attention. So there was a little bit of competition between those two.
Right.
And then we get into like the after party part of the date,
which is where we see Martin
just go down in flames.
Yeah, he went down in flames. We see him like basically questioning Michelle's patterns of thought process. Like he's questioning her integrity. He's
making
being very
big
callous
statements.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making really big statements, and then
Are you laughing at my face?
Yeah. And then you were like, ooh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was so bad.
And then he sits with her privately, and he's like, I just am so impressed by you. I love the way that you carry yourself. And I think she was already starting to feel not super great about him. And then
100%.
she has a chat with Olu, who's like, listen, I don't trust this guy. This guy is saying one thing to your face and something else to the guys. He's being kind of disrespectful. And then so she calls him. She pulls him for the chat.
That's what I put. I said she pulls him for the chat. Clap, clap, clap. Emoji.
She pulls him for the chat, and she basically sort of tries to clarify the information that she's received. And he interrupts her, and he disregards what she's saying. He's not listening. He's trying to make his point across. He's clearly feeling very frustrated that he is not being heard. And then he uses language like, no, my love. And I thought she handled this like an absolute queen.
Me too.
What did you think?
Me too. Yeah, I have a lot of specific notes because this made my skin crawl. This was a little too close to home for me. From some of the stuff that I've dealt with in relationships. And so ladies, pay attention, because this is, we got to spot this. And yeah, like, so going back, just to reiterate, like some of the stuff he was saying to the guys, like he's saying she isn't paying attention to the words that are, like, he was very much saying, like, she's not listening to me. She's not paying attention. She's not understanding me. So very much blaming her for all of the miscommunication, which is hilarious because, again, alluding to our past episodes, we have literally talked about Martin stating, I'm working on communicating, and then not communicating. And now here he is this week being like, this is all her fault. You know, yeah. And him making this big statement about how clearly she hasn't worked through her childhood trauma, which is immature, and alluding to her, what's it called? Spoken word thing that she did a couple dates ago. It was really uncalled for and not true. And in my opinion, partial projection. And so now, yeah, when she calls him out and is like, you know, you're saying one thing to my face and another thing to the guys. And Martin says this, Jordan and I both hit pause and just like took a second, because he said this, can I tell you what I said? Am I allowed? And I can't stand it when people position themselves as victims like that, because it's not true. She's happy to have a conversation with you. Of course you're allowed to speak your mind. At what point has Michelle ever told you to not speak your mind?
Right.
But just because you've been caught lying now, don't come at me like you're the victim.
Right.
Because that's what's happening. And so now he's trying to position himself that way. And he did say one point about Olu, you know, that's what that person didn't understand when I was talking to them, alluding to Olu. And it's like, back off, man. And Michelle even said it. There's no reason to not trust Olu. He has been so consistent and calm and chill. He has good rapport built with other guys in the house. That Martin using language like, but my love, you're putting words in my mouth, is so terrifyingly manipulative.
Yeah.
It's like the contrast between those two had me.
Absolutely.
For me, it was hard. It was a little uncomfortable for me to watch just because of like what I've been through in the past.
Right. Right. I like that you brought up the juxtaposition of that, like the tone of how that conversation was going and the deliberate use of a familiar word
endearment.
to be able to, term of endearment, to be able to get control over the situation and the conversation, and to be able to have Michelle feel calmer, more at ease. She's not at ease.
No, like he was trying to, in this, from my opinion, he would very much obviously was trying to, this is why it's so important for me for women to have this type of education, because, and anyone, you know, good manipulators use language to make you feel a certain way while saying baloney or trying to gaslight or trying to like fill in the blank, right? Love bomb, all the things. They position it in a place that comes across like they have your best interest in mind, which is why you need to pay attention to the words and the behaviors and the consistency. We've seen consistently Martin can't communicate. We've seen consistently Martin have misogynistic tendencies, you know, and the list goes on. And so now when he's being confronted by Michelle, he's falling into, let me place myself as a victim. Let me try and make her feel like I love her, right? My love, all of those things. And also what he ended up saying that really rubbed me the wrong way was, my opinion, you're letting someone else dictate the relationship we have, which very much implies she's incapable of thinking for herself. So yeah, I had a lot of problems with the language he used. Also, this fake ass apology. So I apologize for maybe speaking over you. He said that.
Yes, very close attention to the word maybe used in that sentence.
And he chuckled while saying it. So
not an apology.
Walking red flag. Yeah, walking red flag. I didn't like it. And when he got in the limo to go home, it got way worse. I was so happy to see him going home. What were your thoughts on what he said to the camera in his?
Oh, actually, I don't really remember it.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm going to need your help with this because Jamie was like talking to me throughout this entire episode. I was like doing my best trying to be like, you guys, I'm intentionally watching. I'm working right now. Yeah. So help me out. You tell me what was said and then I'll react to it.
Well, he was rolling his eyes in the limo and he was like, she made a mistake. And then he goes on and was trying to reiterate the stuff that Michelle was saying. And instead was just like, blah, 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 like literally quote, blah, 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 just rolling his eyes, trying to say what she said. And then he goes, and a woman like that doesn't deserve my time. So at this point, after all of these red flags that I've seen over the last couple weeks and this, evening, in my opinion, I would feel comfortable saying he's somewhere on the narcissistic spectrum.
Yeah. He saying something like that after many, 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 many weeks of trying to pump up Michelle's confidence and get in good with her to say, this is the kind of woman you are. And that's why I appreciate that so much. And then to get in the car when he feels rejected to say, and that kind of woman, really the kind of woman that you've been holding up on an entire pedestal for 8 weeks straight. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, it does make sense in the event that like all of those previous attempts to become close with Michelle were intended to win this game.
Yep. Completely correct. And just, complete manipulation. And I'm glad he's gone. I'm so glad he's gone.
He needed to go. That dude needed to go. We also lost Olu.
We did. It makes me so sad. But I will say with I'm really happy with the 4 she ended up picking.
Yeah.
To go to hometowns.
We lost Rick. Which
yay.
Yeah, I feel bad celebrating, but I'm celebrating.
Okay, well, we're going to have to talk about that because I want to know why you feel bad. We got to talk about Brendon's one-on-one.
Brendon's one-on-one. Okay, also, long debate in my house. Brendon or Brandon? Heard them both. Can't hear it clearly. What's going on? Help me.
I wrote Brendon, E-N-D-A-N. But I also don't know. And so that means next week when he has his hometown and his nameplate shows up on the TV, I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention to it.
We'll pay attention to it. I thought it was Brandon this entire time and then last night I heard Brendon and then I also heard Brandon. And it's like one of those like Ryans and Bryans. It's very hard for me to hear.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me, what's your opinion of Brandon or Brendon after this date?
Brendon/Brandon.
Yeah.
I thought that they have this, and we've called this from the beginning when they started getting close. They have this very childlike affection for each other, very touchy, lots of kissing, lots of cuddling. They sort of like, they really look like teenagers at the beginning of a relationship where you like can't keep your hands off of each other. Yeah. And it's very sweet. It's really sweet. Mm-hmm. They go to her childhood home, which I thought was like very special for him to have access there. I do think that like, while of course that was a producer structured moment, I do think that she would only bring someone there if she felt safe doing that. It's a very intimate thing.
You mean, are you talking about her parents walking in on them, making out in the jacuzzi?
No, I mean even choosing to bring him there.
Yes, I agree.
I could tell that it was like a stage surprise. Like,
it wasn't genuine at all.
But I do think that Brendon/Brandon did not know. I feel that he did not know what was on the horizon there. And I agree. I want to talk about the conversation that the 4 of them had together mom and
Yeah,
dad,
let's talk about it.
and Michelle and her guy. What were your initial thoughts?
I
Uh-oh.
look, I think that no, I don't think Brendon's a bad guy. I
No,
don't.
he's
I think he's a decent dude. I think that his heart's in the right place. I think he genuinely likes Michelle. I think he genuinely sees a future with Michelle. I felt like at the end of the conversation when Michelle goes and he asks for their permission, I felt like that was a little forced and premature. And it just didn't feel genuine for some reason. But I also feel like it might be really hard to genuinely ask that question with the way that this show is set up at the same time. Because I know that the final two, typically in the cadence of the show in the past, the final two meet, maybe it's even the final three, meet her parents again. So that's usually when that conversation is had. So before Hometown's asking it, when it's like, she hasn't even met your family yet. And I thought that their response was great. You know, the parents said, if she chooses you, then you gain our blessing because we have faith in our daughter's ability to make a good decision.
We trust her.
And I thought that was the best way that they could answer that because they don't know him from Adam. And that conversation was probably 45 minutes long. Like it was, you know. But we also don't know. We saw 2 seconds of it. What about you?
I think that her parents are really nice people.
Yeah.
Really lovely people. Like really super, super lovely human beings. I also think that Brendon is also really lovely.
Yeah.
The feeling that I got when he asked for their blessing, which as you mentioned, they handled wonderfully. The feeling that I got was not that it wasn't genuine or that it was forced. I thought that it was genuine, but I felt like you did that it was premature.
Yeah.
And
just
happening
rushed
a little bit too quickly. Yeah. Because it is true. Like you just met them. And I think that they're, again, lovely people and they could tell that he's a good guy. I liked his demeanor when he was with them. I liked that he spoke to them with a lot of respect. I like that he spoke highly of Michelle in a really loving and genuine way. So I liked him, and it would be shocking if they didn't like him. But also, they're not going to sit there and be like, "No, we're not giving you our blessing." They're going to be like, "We have to find out a little bit more." But sure. Yeah,
exactly. And here's what I wrote. I'm super happy she's feeling it. I'm happy that he's feeling it. Do I personally think he's going to be the one that wins or that is her person? I don't. I think she needs someone who's a little bit more grown up is the word that comes to mind, which is no shade against Brendon. I don't know. That's just the word that comes to mind. But I just called him Brendon too, not Brendon.
I know.
It flip-flops. But anyway, like, I just don't get that vibe from him. But that doesn't, again, we never know. We never know because we only see this much of all of the things that they're experiencing together. So.
Yeah, totally. He's a cutie patootie. And the minute that he was like asking for their blessing to wed their daughter that he's known for a very short amount of time and he's known them for even less, my immediate reaction was to curl up in a ball and say, oh my God, this little boy's heart's going to get broken.
I know.
His heart's going to get broken.
Yeah, I agree.
We will find out.
We will.
So the last four are Joe, Nate, Brendon, and Rodney. Who I agree with you. I'm very happy with this four. Very happy.
Me too. Yeah. So let's talk about why you're not stoked to celebrate Rick leaving, because I literally have yay, it's not Rick in my notes.
Well, I'm glad that he's not staying, but I'm feeling bad about, because you know how like when we started talking about Rick, we were just like, we don't trust him. We don't trust him. We don't trust him. We don't trust him. We're waiting for something
to happen,
slimy to happen. And nothing slimy happened that we saw. I think that he's a very intense guy. I think that he had a lot of big feelings, and I think that he had like big feelings in sort of a vacuum. Like, I don't think that Michelle shared any of those big feelings with him. So the reason why I'm not like, oh, yay, it's because I do feel bad for him, because I think that he is probably feeling really down about his journey finding love. So there's a little pang in my heart. Yeah.
That's sweet. I don't feel the same, but that's okay.
We can still be friends.
Yes, we can. We can. And I also just think that I very much, I guess, I don't know if this is cold-hearted, but I very much like look at the show as it is what it is. And like, I make my call based off of what I've seen. I have seen people on these shows where I have been like, I don't like you as a contestant. And then they've gone to Bachelor in Paradise and I've been like, okay, you're growing on me, you know? So even just seeing them in different environments, like if we see Rick on Bachelor in Paradise, fine. I still don't think,
you think
we will. I think we'll see Olu. I have a feeling we'll see Olu for sure, which will make me happy. But going back to Salad Guy, like I stand by my guesstimates of like what I've perceived with him, and I feel that I'm not saying he's an awful human being. I think he has a little bit of work to do on pacing himself and maintaining his sense of self while looking for love. If the love bombing was genuine and not coming from a place of trying to manipulate, you know, which we won't know. Yeah.
Bingo. I totally agree with you. I think he needs to pace himself.
Okay. Red flag, green flag of the week. What you got for me?
Okay. Since I have a feeling that our red flag is going to come from the same moment.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick out a specific behavior.
Word. I did the same because I thought the same thing.
Nice. Wow.
Always. We're just like this.
We're right here. So my specific red flag moment, the thing that really bothered me was his use of endearing language, my love.
My love.
Inappropriately.
Oh, yeah. So gross.
Yeah.
Completely
that made
agree.
me want to like do voms.
Yep. So, yes, I'm with you. And my micro moment was the "Am I allowed?" comment. Yeah. Also vomit inducing.
Vomit inducing.
So let's get out of that real quick. Green flag. Hey.
Green flag of the week. Okay. My soft green flag. We hadn't talked about this yet, but I did really, like in Brendon/Brandon's one-on-one date, the dinner date function of their one-on-one, where he took the opportunity when it was really appropriate to be vulnerable and really share how he was feeling about Michelle. And the reason why it's a green flag for me is because I think outside of a reality dating show, that I think that people in modern dating experiences tend to hold back when they feel really strongly about someone. And true to our advice about Rick, like pace yourself. But if you feel that you're in the right place and those feelings are appropriate, but they haven't been said yet, take the risk and let someone know how you feel about them, because I think that it's important to do for yourself and for the other person.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. That's a good micro moment, a good green flag.
What about you?
For me, it was when Michelle stood up for herself and respectfully requested that Martin let her finish speaking.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people can struggle when someone's kind of coming at them with language like that. It can be really overwhelming. And finding the tone and also courage to just be like, hey, I'm talking. Let me finish really quick. I let you speak. I'd really appreciate it if you could let me finish my sentence, you know? I think like that is such a skill to have. And a lot of times what ends up happening is if we already are feeling uncomfortable, instead of stepping into our power and being like, okay, let me have the opportunity to articulate what I'm experiencing and feeling and observing, we just silence ourselves to just make it all stop. And you end up enabling those kinds of behaviors when you do that. you know, in no will of your own, because you're just trying to protect yourself. But I think that's something that we all need to learn how to do and embrace and feel comfortable being like, look, especially when we're dealing with someone who keeps wanting to talk over us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that reminder to say, if you feel that you're being talked over, interrupt them.
Yeah.
What an important reminder for women. Totally.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump into some listener cues. So we had someone write in and talk about height dynamics when dating. So Bri, do you have any other insight to set this up before we open the floor?
Well, we know, I think my insight is like, unfortunately, this is like a pretty gendered conversation.
Yeah.
I guess in heterosexual dating
Right.
structures. So
Right.
I think height for women tends to, well, actually, I don't know. I don't have lived experience of being a tall woman. So I'm going to ask you about that. But but I think that dating for tall men is different than dating for short men. But I have thoughts on how to not rely on that as being, I don't know, how to not live with that chip on your shoulder. Like what one should do if people are unkind or honestly, for lack of a better word, discriminatory because of your height.
Yeah. Well, I think for anyone who's listening, who's a short king or queen, you know, and you feel like that's something that's held against you, like, own it. And if someone's going to judge you for that, that's their problem, not your problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So true.
Like,
that's true.
That's my first, you know, tidbit. There's so Cody Co, I know you've heard me talk about him. Jordan and I love Cody Co. Jordan got me hooked on him. He's really funny. He's a short dude, you know, he's like 5'8", has a girlfriend, has a great relationship with his girlfriend. They're super cool, super down to earth people. And he talks about it and owns it and is like, yep, I'm a short dude. And like, you know, and I think that is the most attractive energy you can have, is not giving any fucks, because it's like, you can't control that, and you owning it will make you way more attractive, instead of being like, girls need to give me a chance because I'm, you know, just because I'm short doesn't mean I'm great. That attitude is an energy vampire and will show up subliminally while you're dating, while you're on apps, while you're trying to meet people. So we got to get rid of that.
Totally.
Now I will say, for the women out there who are tall, I'm 5'9".
That's tall.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, for a chick, I'm above average. And I have dated men. The tallest guy I've ever dated, 6'8". I've dated a couple people up on that end of the spectrum. And one of them out of the batch was healthy and normal and communicative. And the other ones were habitual liars, were weird and just like non-communicative. And so here's the deal. Height in the long run means nothing. It is not a, you know, if someone's tall, that automatically means they're a more viable candidate to be your partner. And I think that we mentioned this with Rick on like our first episode, that there needs to be a tall guy vaccine, because I think a lot of women's judgment can go out the door when they see that someone is very tall. And that's just me being honest, because I was there at one point.
Right.
And my current partner, who treats me like a princess and a queen and like makes me sandwiches without me asking because he knows I'm busy, or draws a bath for me because he sees how freaking tired I am sitting on the couch, and he'll be like, hey, I just made a bath for you. Like, go chill. He's like an inch or two taller than me. Like, and I am stoked about it. Like, I adore that guy and he adores me. And so at the end of the day, what matters, height or heart, hands down.
Heart.
Everyone's going to shrivel up, turn wrinkly, and shrink in size eventually anyway. So find someone who's your best friend. Find someone who's your best friend.
First of all, hallelujah to that. I absolutely agree with you. There's something else at play here, on the side of women who are dating men, because women have really fucked up messages about our size and this constant encouragement to be small and take up very little space and be as tiny as possible and be light as a feather, and all of these things are really fucking damaging to us.
I know.
We tend to gravitate towards dating taller men because we don't want to feel small. I'm sorry. Wait.
No. Wait, we don't want to feel tall, big. Yeah.
We don't want to feel big. We want to feel small. So a lot of times we want to date men that are bigger than us so that we can, man, I was really driving home a point. I fucked it up.
No, I think you drove it home more because laugh encourages people to check
we're encouraging
back in.
Listening. So
listen this time.
So what? So while that is really problematic in like the birth of that frame of mind, it is like you said, it is really important for us to remember that like people are not better or worse because of their height,
right,
or their size. So if you are a shorter man and you are dating and you are trying to go after what you want, and to be frank, what you fucking deserve. If you're a good dude and you fucking know it, and there's someone that you were attracted to or someone that you want to get to know better, you got to go for it. Height cannot be a factor in that moment. You got to go for what you want. Be honest, make the moves, lead with confidence, lead with your authentic self, and get consent. And then see where you land.
Yeah. And I'm going to add one more thing. If that is you, don't demand or expect your person to not wear heels.
Yeah. They might want to.
Yeah, I like wearing the occasional heel.
As you should.
And I dated someone who was I married someone who was an inch shorter than me, who didn't like me wearing heels. And that was a bit of a challenge because I like wearing heels occasionally. So don't let your insecurity affect the person you're with, right? Absolutely.
Know that you're like in that situation, that person's insecurity was loud in those moments. And like, how dare you tell me not to do something that makes me feel good because you don't like it?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Be shorter than me and live your fucking truth, dude.
Yeah. And own it. And that's so sexy.
So that's our show today, this week. Thanksgiving. We talked Thanksgiving. We talked about dating. We talked about turkey. We talked about the great potato debate.
Yeah.
And now, if you want any more information from us, you can follow our Instagram accounts. We are on Instagram with Ditch the Script Pod. We are on TikTok with the same handle. Please go to our website, ditchthescriptpod.com. Submit your questions. We will answer them anonymously. You also do have a choice to not use your real name. You don't have to use it if you don't want to know, if you don't want us to know who it is. And yeah. What else you got?
That's it. Guys, have a happy freaking Thanksgiving. We are so thankful for you for listening to this, supporting us. If you liked this episode, leave a review, share it on the gram, tag us, do all the things. Sending you guys so much love and light this holiday season. And we'll see you next week.
Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.